The United States will temporarily close its Mexico border to asylum seekers from Wednesday as President Joe Biden tries to neutralize his political weakness on migration ahead of November's election battle with Donald Trump. Biden signed a long-awaited executive order taking effect at midnight to gain control of the southern frontier with Mexico after record numbers of illegal border crossings sparked concerns among voters. The 81-year-old Democratic's executive order bars migrants who enter the U.S. illegally from claiming asylum when numbers surge past 2,500 in a day, a threshold that has already been passed. It also makes it easier to deport people back to Mexico.
This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process. This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage. We'll carry out this order consistent with all our responsibilities under international law, every one of them. In addition, but then Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. He told the Republicans, it has been published widely by many of you, that he didn't want to fix the issue. He wanted to use it to attack me. That's what he wanted to do. It was a cynical and an extremely cynical political move, and a complete disservice to the American people who are looking for us to not to weaponize the border, but to fix it. We need to get that done. But we must face the simple truth. To protect America as a land that welcomes immigrants, we must first secure the border and secure it now. The simple truth is there is a worldwide migrant crisis. And if the United States doesn't secure our border, there's no limit to the number of people who may try to come here, because there's no better place.
Now for more on this, I'm joined by International Correspondent Afua Hagan. Afua, thank you so much for coming on. This measure takes effect today, right? Are we likely to see a drop in the number of migrants seeking asylum in the United States? Is it likely going to fall?
You're absolutely right, Judith, in saying that this measure takes effect today. Actually, after that speech from Joe Biden yesterday evening, it took effect pretty much immediately at midnight. And basically what this new measure means is that the number of asylum seekers, or the number of people crossing the border, will be capped at 2,500 people per day. Now, it regularly exceeds that number every single day. So once 2,500 people cross the border, no more will be allowed. And then the border will be closed for a period of 2 weeks. And after that period of 2 weeks, only asylum seekers will be allowed to cross the border. And that will be a number of 1,500 people per day. Now, it's thought that, yes, this will see a significant drop in the number of people crossing the border. And that really is the point of this. That's what Joe Biden wants to achieve, is to drastically reduce the numbers of people making that crossing. And it's along the southern states of America, so from Mexico through into Texas, and then they filter up through the United States of America. It's really about reducing the number of people making that crossing.
And what has been the reaction, from both Democrats and Republicans to President Biden's new executive order?
Well, some Democrats have congratulated him on this, have seen this as a real sign of progression because, like he says, there is a worldwide crisis when it comes to immigration, and America is one of the countries that are bearing the brunt of it. But a lot of people in the Democratic Party are disappointed that he has taken these measures. It's seen as a real lurch to the right wing in the Democratic Party, of course, as we know, are very much on the left of politics. So some people saying that this is really disappointing, saying that it's a step in the wrong direction. Now, when it comes to the Republicans, Donald Trump has said that this is about amnesty, not border security. The White House, however, have said that this will be in effect when high levels of people are trying to encounter the southern border. And that the consequences of that mean that these actions have to come into play. A lot of people have also said that this is an election year ruse, that this is about Biden trying to win votes, and that it's a cynical move that has been made only sort of 5 months before the general election in November.
And what effect could this have on, on border crossings in general? Just what would be the effect?
Well, Mexican media have said that this is an economic and cultural, basically it's an economic and cultural disaster, that a border closure would be impossible. They have been very negative about these moves. Authorities in Tijuana are asking what happens to asylum seekers. It's not just about people who are crossing for financial reasons. There's genuine asylum seekers in amongst those people as well. Will they be denied entry? So then what happens to them? Those are real serious questions. And other people saying that you're going to see people making the journey to the border towns in Mexico, then being stuck there and then sleeping on the streets, not returning back to where they came from. What is going to happen to them? There's also consternation over a use of a 1952 law that allows American asylum interest to be, the American asylum system, to be restricted. Now, this law, known as 212F in brackets, allows the US president to suspend entry of foreigners if their arrival is detrimental to the interests of the country. Now, this same law was used by President Donald Trump during his presidency, and he used it to stop people coming from predominantly Muslim countries. And at the time when that happened, a lot of people held it as a very racist move, that basically it was just about stopping Muslims coming to the country, and those laws were quickly repealed. So there's people asking about the use of those laws. And people are saying that there also could be legal challenges, because if that law is used, it could amount to legal challenges from people trying to cross the border, especially asylum seekers whose rights should be protected.
And we understand that unaccompanied minors are not expected to be covered by the new rules, and migrants will still be able to request an appointment to present their asylum application under the planned measure. But can this be seen as form of leniency by the president?
I think this can be seen that President Joe Biden still has some of his left-leaning tendencies, that they are still present with him and within the Democratic Party. Like I said, this whole plan is seen as a real lurch to the right, so to speak. A lot of people not pleased about that. And I think the fact that there still is, perhaps, like you said, an element of leniency, that this will not apply to children, and that people who are already in the United States and asylum seekers will be given the pathway to try and figure out their claims. I think that probably shows us that there still is some left-leaning tendencies in the Democratic Party in President Joe Biden.
And now, Afua, the general elections are like 6 months away, right? It's rather less than 6 months away. Could this action be a vote winner for President Biden?
Well, immigration is a really, really important topic for a lot of people when it comes to them going to the polls. A lot of people seeing this as a cynical move, that this is about Joe Biden trying to win votes. And in fact, he could do that. Biden's actions could have the political effect of chipping away at Trump's lead on the immigration issue, and as well as gaining some middle ground support for him, which he really, really needs. Could leave progressives angry, though, and that could be a risk. And since the pandemic, immigration has taken increasing importance as the number one issue in the minds of voters. But Trump is still favored 27 points ahead than Joe Biden when it comes to just this particular issue. So the polls have showed that on this particular issue, Trump is 27 points ahead of Biden in the polls. Trump and Biden also remain very, very far apart in their ideas of immigration. Of course, Donald Trump and the Republicans, the GOP, are definitely much more right-wing, much more harsh and hard when it comes to immigration. Joe Biden and the Democrats, traditionally not as hard when it comes to immigration, still believing in the dreamers, as he said, people who come to America to try and have that American dream. And so, yes, this plan definitely is a lurch towards the right, but it could get those middle ground voters that Joe Biden really, really needs to convince that he is the best person to handle immigration in the next 4 years after the general election in November.
Afua, many thanks for coming. I appreciate you for doing this with us.